Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the session of radiochemical instrumentation. This is module number 5. Radiochemical instrumentation will deal with measurements which are related to radioactive substances. The radiations that are emitted by radioactive substances, how we can measure them, how they interact with matter, that is what we will be seeing in today's session. So the topics that I'm going to cover is radiochemical methods, various detectors in radiochemical methods, ionization chamber, Ziegler-Muller counter, proportional counter, scintillation counter, semiconductor detectors, and pulse height analyzers. X-ray spectrometry is not there in your syllabus anymore. Now, what are radiochemical methods? Radiochemical methods tend to be labor intensive and generate liquid waste due to the chemical separations that are involved. Furthermore, detection limits tend to be high for long-lived isotopes using radiochemical methods. They are characterized by good accuracy and their ability to be adapted to a wide number of applications. Another advantage to this method is that they minimize or eliminate the need for separations that are required in any other analytical methods. So first of all, when does radioactivity take place? Radioactivity takes place when there are isotopes present or where there is an unbalanced nucleus. So what are isotopes? All isotopes of an element have the same atomic number and their chemical behavior is very similar. What differs is their atomic mass number. For example, tritium can substitute for hydrogen and either 125 iodine or 131 iodine can substitute for 126 iodine in chemical reactions. So tritium, deuterium, these are isotopes of hydrogen, and iodine 125, iodine 131, iodine 126 are isotopes of iodine. So what are radioactive isotopes? Radioactive isotopes have unstable nuclei that spontaneously change to form more stable nuclei. As a result, either new isotopes or new elements are produced. Isotopes have unstable nuclei that spontaneously change form. I think the statement has been repeated, sorry. The use of radioactive isotopes has led to the development of radiochemical method analysis. So what is radioactivity? The phenomena of spontaneous emission of radiation from radioactive substance is known as radioactivity. We all are aware of radioactivity. The radiations that are emitted by radioactive elements are called either alpha, beta, or gamma radiations. Naturally occurring substances will be with atomic number higher than 82. For example, uranium, polonium, radium, etc. All these are radioactive substances. So what are these radiations and what are their properties? Let us see. If you see in the diagram, in one of the diagrams, the radiative material or radioactive material is placed inside a lead box. Lead because it obstructs all type of radiations. And once it is placed in the magnetic field and once it is placed in the electrical field, they get deflected by both. When you're placing them in the electrical field, you can observe that some particles are deflected towards the positive plate, some particles are deflected towards the negative plate, whereas some are neutral. Some of them, as you see, are deflected towards the positive, some towards the negative, and some are not deflected at all by the electrical field. Those which are deflected by towards the positive are beta, they are negatively charged. The ones which are deflected towards the negative plate, they are alpha, they are positively charged. And the ones which do not deflect are gamma radiations, which are nothing but electromagnetic, similar to electromagnetic radiations. Similarly, you can observe it in the magnetic field. The betas are deflected more. The magnetic field is applied at right angles. Betas are deflected more because they are light in weight. Alphas are deflected less because they are heavier comparatively. And gamma are not deflected at all because they are neutral. Hence they don't have a charge, hence they do not deflect. So we can observe their behavior in electric as well as in magnetic field. The last line you can see here, by experiments, an alpha particle are doubly ionized helium atoms, beta particles are electrons, and gamma rays are electromagnetic waves. These are the characteristics of properties of the properties of the radiations which we just discussed. You can just go through the slide once. I hope I have answered your question, Shri Priya. Sorry, Shri Devi. Let's move further. Let us see a comparative of the properties of alpha, beta, and gamma rays. So the nature of alpha, beta, gamma, as you can see, for alpha it is helium nucleus, beta it is fast moving electrons, and gamma it is photons. Nature of charge, positive, negative, no charge. Magnitude of charge, 3.2 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs. Beta 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs, and gamma 0. Mass, as you can see, the alpha are comparatively heavier than the beta, and gammas have rest mass as 0. Velocity, gamma, since they are heavier, they have a lesser velocity comparatively, whereas betas have a velocity very much closer to light, and since gamma radiations are already photons, they have the same as light. Effect of electric and magnetic field, alpha and beta both will get deflected, gamma rays will not get deflected. Ionizing power, now what is ionizing power? That means whenever these particles, alpha, beta or gamma, they strike any atom, do they have the power to ionize this? Do they have the power to split it into anions and cations? So yes, alpha have the maximum ionization power, beta has a lesser as compared to alpha, and gamma has the most minimum ionizing power. Penetrating power, penetrating in the sense through what all substances that these can pass. Alphas are very heavy particles. They will not even pass through paper. The moment they strike on paper, they will lose their velocity and they'll be absorbed there. So they have the minimum penetrating power. Whereas beta have 100 times of your alpha rays. Here A, B and G, it's basically due to the font, but this one is alpha, this one is beta, and this one is gamma radiations. So these have, beta rays have 100 times more power, penetrating power as compared to your alpha particles. And gamma rays, they have 1000 times more power of the alpha particles. Do they produce fluorescence? Yes, alpha rays will produce fluorescence for zinc sulfide and barium platinocyanide. Beta rays will produce fluorescence for barium platinocyanide and calcium tungstate, whereas gamma rays would not produce any fluorescence. So this was a comparative of the properties of alpha, beta and gamma radiations. So when an alpha decay occurs, if this is the parent atom, okay, then there would be a daughter and an alpha particle generated. Alpha particle is nothing but a helium. So what happens is, when you have a daughter, when an alpha particle is generated, your atomic number and your atomic mass number both will be decreased. Similarly, if an alpha part, here same diagram, it is shown that when plutonium is decaying, it generates uranium and helium. So if alpha particles are emitted, nucleus loses 2 units of its positive charge and 4 units of its mass. So alpha decay is a common radioactive process. The alpha particle is a helium nucleus. Isotopes with mass numbers less than about 150, that is Z is equal to 60, seldom yield alpha particles. Alpha particles progressively lose their energy. I just mentioned earlier, so only they have very less penetration power. Result of collisions as they pass through matter and are ultimately converted into helium atoms through capture of 2 electrons from their surroundings. Beta decay, an electron is generated, because of which what happens? There is one extra positive charge that is added to the daughter. Similarly, you can see here. So beta decay, in this the atomic number changes, but the mass number stays the same. There are types of beta decay: negatron, positron, and electron capture. In a gamma decay, the parent is excited, you have a daughter and a gamma ray, but you will observe that the atomic mass number and the atomic number both remain the same. There is no loss. So gamma are produced by nuclear relaxations. So gamma ray emissions is a result of nucleus in an excited state returning to the ground state in one or more quantized steps with the release of monoenergetic gamma rays. When I'm saying monoenergetic means it will be emitting only one type of radiation. Gamma rays, except for their source, are indistinguishable from X-rays of the same energy. So here you can see before and after of cobalt. And this is all three put together, alpha, beta and gamma emissions, just for your reference. I had discussed about penetration power. So here we can see that if I have alpha, beta and gamma radiations, then the alpha particles will be stopped by paper itself. That means they will be absorbed by paper itself. If it is beta particle, they will pass through paper, they will pass through human beings, and they will be obstructed by thin aluminium sheets. Whereas gamma radiations, if you observe, they will pass through paper, human beings, they will pass through thin aluminium, they will be obstructed by lead only. So this is the penetration power of alpha, beta and gamma radiations.